Alright, so it's been a hot minute since I've done a video of the 3-day scripting challenge. I kind of have been a little bit busy with personal stuff. In fact, as I'm recording this, I have to wake up at around 5 in the morning tomorrow because I have a competition for band tomorrow. So it's fun, but it's also very time consuming. Because this week has been super duper exhausting because we've been put with so much workload because of our competition at the end of the week. So I'm recording this because I have a small sliver of time where I think I can record day 16, which by the way, it's a crafting system. Now the prompt for day 16 is players can combine 2 items into a new one, but I'm thinking of just making the crafting system like a full-on multi-item crafting system. So it would be like 3 or 4 or 5 items. So yeah, I guess it would fulfill the prompt for day 16, but it also add a lot extra. So quick prep before the video, I made a crafting frame with the UI here for the crafting window. So there's a button called crafting, and then inside of this frame there's this actions item, which is where all the things would be, like craft, description, the image of the item, and then the requirements to craft it, which is also it's inside of a scrolling frame here. And then also I have this scrolling frame here which shows you all of the items that you can craft. And that's all of the setup that I've done for today. So to make a crafting system, pretty much we want to store all of the information of the items that are available to craft inside of a module script that we can access. So inside of the folder here, we're going to make a module script, and inside of that module script we'll make another one which will be the database for all of our things. So in here we're just going to make a module script, and then my template here. I think I did link this in the description of a previous video, but it will be a service here. So we're just going to call this one crafting service, and then I have a plugin that auto renames it for me because it's pretty helpful having that. I think I linked those in the previous video. If I didn't, I'm sorry. Update those when I upload this video. So inside of crafting service, we're going to add another module script, and then I will probably make a template for the databases, but I don't really think I need a thing. So this will just be called item database. So in our, actually it should be a capital item database. So in this item database here, we need a couple of things for our crafting menu. First, we need the ingredients. I don't know why it's not. Oh, it's because it's one. So all of the items we need will be shown here. So we need the items. It'll probably be a table, and then we need the image ID, and then on top of that we need the description. So in our item database here, we're going to have it be so that our item is just going to equal a couple of things. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to say like this. Pizza is going to equal a table, and then inside pizza we're going to have a couple of things here. So first we'll just put the ingredients right there, and then we want our description. So in this case, a nice cheesy. Alright, I'm probably going to get a lot of mixed opinions about this if people from the future people are reviewing this as my portfolio. I like Hawaiian pizza, okay? I really like pineapple on pizza. I think it's really good. Pineapples with jalapenos and ham. It's a really nice pizza. I love the ultimate Hawaiian pizzas. But I'm just gonna say a nice cheesy pizza as our description, right? And then we also need our image. So simply go to our toolbox here and then go to decals. I don't know why the toolbox doesn't work. And I'm just going to grab an image of a pizza, but for some reason it doesn't work. Oh, there we go, now it works. Okay, so we want a pizza, so let's go grab this. We'll take this one here. So you right click it and click copy the texture ID here, and then it should give you this string of numbers. So you say asset ID colon and then / twice, and then this number here, and I'll give you the texture ID, which is what we want. And then that's the simple template here. So in our ingredients, we're going to have a couple of things here. Also, I gotta say this, when you make a crafting system, try to have the items you need crafted to be shared across certain recipes. Like for pizza, like the cheese we'll use on the pizza will probably be like the cheese we use on a cheeseburger. Because it's a lot nicer for players when they have a lot of shared items to craft. But if you don't want to do that, that's completely fine. It's just a way to diversify crafting items. But alright, I won't talk about that. So we're going to say, we'll say dough. That's going to equal to 1, and then comma. Wait, what am I doing? I just set a string to equal. Dough is going to equal to... I'm so smart. Okay, sorry. And then we want cheese. Let's say we need like 5 cheese, right? To make pizza. And then pepperoni. We'll just say... No, we'll say sauce, right? Sauce, we'll need 2, right? And then one more we'll do pepperoni. Or in this case, meat will equal... It'll equal 4. And that's all we need for the ingredients. So now what we can do is we can just copy this over for however many items we want to craft. I can do this here, and then I can do this here, but don't have them be the same name. Have them be the same name as how it looks here. So pizza and then cheeseburger. Now, if you aren't aware, some people like to store these values inside of the GUI object as actual instances, like a value, like a number value, int value, but I prefer putting them in a database like this because it's easier to manage it. Okay, and then cheeseburger and then also sandwich. So I'll real quickly do all this so you don't have to watch me do it. Okay, and I have gone ahead and updated all of this. So our item database is good to go. That's literally all we need for our database. Now, in crafting service, we want to retrieve our things. So, simply just say the local item database is going to require, require script dot item database. And then this is how we're going to access all of the things. Now, we're going to leave this as it is right now because we want our client to first be able to, interact with the stuff. So I'll make a local script here, and this will be called crafting client. And this will handle all of the user interface. And as a matter of fact, in this colon init here, we can just say local craft item remote is going to equal to instance.new remote event, and then we'll say craft item remote dot parent will equal to scripts dot parent dot remote, and then craft item dot name will equal to craft item. So I should probably put the name part before parent remote. So this will be used for when our client wants to craft an item. So I'll just save that for later. We can move this out of the way here. So we're gonna first grab all of our UI here. So we'll just say local crafting frame is equal to script parent main GUI dot crafting frame. And then we're simply just going to say when the shop button is open. So crafting is not C-frame, or crafting frame dot open dot activated. We'll connect function. We don't need any of the inputs. We're going to set the visibility of our holder to be like the opposite of what it is. So local holder will equal to crafting frame dot holder. And here we're just going to say holder dot visible is equal to not holder dot visible. So the opposite of what it is. And that's it. That's our open and close function here. Now, for when the player actually interacts with an item. So I'll have the hierarchy open here, just so it'll be a little bit simpler. What we're gonna do is we're gonna first, so because the UI has been opened, we're gonna want to run a real quick setup that will just get all of the player's items every time. So by default, it'll have nothing open. It'll tell you to select an item first. And then when it does, we're going to have the player load, no, not the player. We're going to load the player's data onto the script to tell them how many items they have. So real quickly, I'm going to go inside of the profile module. This is what I used in the profile store video, but if you didn't do this, you could just do it for whatever data store service that you use. And I'm going to make a new value inside of player data template, and it'll be called, what does it do that? Ingredients, and it'll equal a table right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to include in our item database all of the things. So dough, cheese, sauce, meat, and bread. So we'll put bread right here, and we'll give the player 10 of each resource, so we can, not 50, 10 of each resource, so we can experiment with crafting. And we're pretty much just going to, we're going to get the data that we want about the player data, like, oh my god, about the ingredients, and then we're going to add that to our things to check. So in our crafting client, we're simply just going to grab the profile module, and then from here we're going to run some more checks. So we'll do for underscore item in holder dot actions dot wait, no, it's just holder dot items, whoops, colon, not we'll check if item, whoa, what is going on with my code today? If item colon is a, and we want to see if it is a text button or an image button or whatever, then so we'll give it some type checking here, text button. If it is a text button, because in here I have a UI list layout, we're just going to check when it's activated. So we'll say item dot activated, wait, no, in holder dot items colon get children, and then from here we can load up the actions. So we'll make a function here called load UI, so local function load action, and we're pretty much just going to, we just need the name, so we're just going to include the item, which has to be a string. So we're going to call load action, not load string, load action, and then the item dot name. So then from here, we first are going to set up the UI to show the thing. So we also need to get crafting service so we can access the item database. Or we don't even need to, we can just get the item database itself. So I can go to the top here and I can say item database, and then it'll grab that here. So we're first going to set up the image. So the image will be first. So we'll say local image, or actually local item is, no, local item data is going to equal to item database item. And we'll check if item data then, and then we'll grab capital I. If the item data exists, we'll say local nationality. So we'll grab all of the things. So I'll probably just get a variable for the actions frame. So local actions will equal to holder dot actions. So here we go. We'll set the image. So actions dot image is going to equal to item data and then image, and then we'll set actions. This should be called description. Factoring in dot description will equal to item data dot description, and then we'll go down. This process is going to be a little interesting. We're going to loop through all of the ingredients, and we're going to clone this template item and put it into the materials. So we're first going to check, like, clear the items first. So for underscore item, or prev in actions dot materials colon get children, to say if prev colon is a, and then we'll say text label, because I have a list out in there. Then we'll say prev colon destroy, because I don't want to delete the UI list layout here. And then we're going to do the rest of it. So we'll say for underscore ingredient, or actually we'll keep I in here. For I ingredient in, and then item data dot ingredients do, well, separate this here just to make it easier. So we're going to loop through all of these ingredients. We're going to then clone the template. So local clone is going to equal to actions.template colon clone, and we'll set the clone.text to be, it'll be I, and then dot dot, and then space, and then we'll do something fancy here. So ingredient number 1 would be, oh, okay, I think I'm doing this wrong, because the way I have the database formatted is this is the index and this is the value. So I think it would be for I and then the ingredients, and then this would be the amount, because this would be the index and this would be the value, so it would be a little different. So it would be a little different. So it would be the ingredient and then so it would be, for example, dough. We put a colon right after, and then however much dough the player currently has, and then / the total amount of dough. So we would need to get the player's data here. So let's get profile module colon get profile, and then the player. So we're gonna do game.players.local player. And then we just simply want to access the ingredients. And then here what we want to do is get the ingredients. So local ingredients. So we'll say player ingredients and it's equal to the player store. And then how do I have this sorted out? So it's the ingredients, right? So player store and then data ingredients. And then here, I keep saying and then so much. It's like such a repetitive phrase for me. We would acquire the specific ingredient from the thing. So we would, so local specific, I'm going to call that, is going to equal to the player ingredients. And then we're going to index it with the ingredients. And we're going to check if not specific, then we'll set specific to equal to 0. So the player is 0 value. So ingredient, and then it will be specific, and then page, and then this will be over the amount. Oh, I need to get the calculation here. Alright, so this should work every time we open a new thing. So let's go give that a try. Okay, I already have some errors here. And classic issue, yeah, honestly, I don't think it's a classic issue. I don't even understand what wrong. Oh, no, I see the issue. When you try to call remote function to get the player's data. So instead of doing the profile module thing, we'll just make a remote event to retrieve the data. So we'll make a remote function, and that's what we call it. Get data. Get data client. Say, whoops, let's do that. Put that right here, we'll say local get data client will equal to duplicate storage dot shared dot remote dot get data client. And then we'll say local player store is going to equal to item database. Not item database, get data client invoke server. And we'll say if player store then, just to make sure that we're not getting nil. And then in our profile module here, actually, I think I'll just put it in the server script. So let's call it server profile handle. We'll say profile module and then shared.remotes.getDataClient. We'll say getDataClient.onServerInvoke is going to be the function. And then the player is passed by default here. So the client will put in there. And we'll say return profile module, go and get profile, and then the client. And that should fix it, because what was happening is we were requiring the profile module, and the profile module was requiring the profile store, in which case you can't run these functions on the client. So that should fix it. So now if we test it here, crafting window opens nicely, and if I click on pizza, and there's no error. Okay. Let's see, line 18, action.image. Try that maybe. Oh, the issue was I wasn't setting the actual image value. Okay, so the image here is working fine, and yeah, so the issue was I wasn't actually set description context. There you go. So yeah, the issue was I wasn't. There we go. So this works, and then it's a nice user pizza, and then there's the image, but then now there's another error called tables cannot be cited. Okay, so I fixed that error, but now the ingredients are not being displayed here. So let's go look into our UI here, in player UI, and let's go to our crafting frame, and let's look here. Yeah, so it's not doing anything. So maybe the data is not being sent over. case our ingredients are staying. So what's happening here? I changed it to send only the data. So now only player store it's only receiving this information right here. Let's print the player store. So it's definitely receiving it, and it's just the data. So we have ingredients, and then we have bread, cheese, dough, meat, and sauce. So now the issue is, why is it not cloning? It's because I didn't parent. It's supposed to equal to actions. Okay, I wasn't parenting. That's the issue. Okay, it did not appear to be the issue. Because that's still not controlling. Oh, that's good. I'm not setting it to be visible too. That's why. Because by default it's invisible. So now it should work. But there we go. Okay. So as you can see, we have our crafting panel that will change depending on the requirements. Okay, actually, there's a little logical error going on here. Okay, it wasn't a logical error. So we have dough, cheese, sauce, meat. Then we have sauce, cheese, bread, and meat. And then we have sauce, cheese, bread, and meat. And then, in fact, if we want it to be ordered, I think you can just put this in pairs. No, actually, it should be I pairs. And then it'll put it in order from, I think it puts it in order. I literally hardly ever use pairs and I pairs, but I think I pairs would order it. No, it, in fact, not. Okay, ignore that. You don't need to put pairs. So that's for now getting the information, right? So the next thing we need to do is when the player clicks on the craft button. So when the player clicks on the craft button, we want to tell the server that the player wants to craft this item, and then we need to store the current item. So we'll put a value up here called current item. Actually, I wouldn't do that. I'd put all your variables in the last place, so we'll put current item, let's just go to no, and then we're going to set current item here. So once this is done, we'll set current item to equal to the thing here. So current item will equal item. Once this is done, we're just going to check if actions have been passed. So not actions, but craft button activated for connect function, and then we're simply going to tell the server that the player wants to craft this item. So we're gonna actually turn this into a remote event, not a thing. It'll be a remote function, and then it's called craft item. So with this method for creating the remote events, to get that actual remote event, we'll simply say, we'll put it right under here. What you do is you'd say replicate storage.shared.remote.child.connect function, and then the child, and check if the child is a remote function, and child.name is equal to craft item, then craft item is equal to the child. And in this case, this is a remote function. And the difference between a remote function and a remote event is that when you call a remote function, it returns a value, and if you call a remote event, it doesn't return a value. So we'll say local success is going to equal to craft item and craft item invoke server. So we're putting this here to make sure that the item exists, because it might not exist, it might not appear inside of the remotes in time. So if it doesn't, we'll just check. And then in our invoke server, we want to send in the player and then also our current item. And we'll check if success. Then also in our item database, we want to store the players themselves to say if the item has been purchased or not. So we'll actually just do that we'll give the player a tag that says item purchased or not. So we'll get a variable called purchase tag, which will be created by the server. I'll get into that in a second here. So, or actually, the craft tag's only for single craft items, which that'll be a challenge by the way for it. It's super easy to know. This is just for multiple crafting. I'm just getting too carried away, my things. So let's say actions.craft button.text will equal to crafted, and then wait 1 second. Let's delete this extra equal sign here. Alright, so now into our crafting service in our starter. We'll say self.craft item is going to equal to craft item, and then say self.craft item on server invoke is going to equal to a function where we're going to have the player. Actually, no, the player is passed by default, so we want to just send the player. I keep forgetting that. And then just the item. So what we're going to do is we actually need the profile module as well. So we'll grab that too. We'll grab the player's data, so local player data is going to equal to profile module, get profile player, and then dot data with player, or actually it should be an and here, and profile module, get profile player dot data. So then from here, we're just going to run some checking between the item database here. So we can copy this over, this entire thing here, we're just going to copy over to the server. So player ingredients will just equal to the player data dot ingredients, and then we'll say item database item, and then dot ingredients, or actually we'll make a variable for that. Local item data, so it's item database item, and ingredients. So I can just delete this. No, I can delete the dot ingredients thing here. And then we don't need this right here. This we don't need. So what we're going to do is we're going to check if the player has enough. So we'll say local player amount is going to equal to player ingredients, and then the ingredient. I'm going to check if player amount is equal to amount. Then we're just going to continue, else return, or else like, or no, wait, not equal to amount, then we're going to return false. So if any of the items in here are, if any of the items in the table are not equal to the amount, then it's just going to return false. The player can't craft it. Because if it doesn't have one of the items, then you won't be able to craft it. So we'll return false. And then if it is, so in this case, if all of it is done right here, we're going to minus the things from this. So we're going to create a table here, local like food data. So we're going to this table, right? Or just value data. Whatever we're going to take away from the player's data. So in this else statement here, we're going to add in value data the ingredient. Ingredient is just going to equal to the amount. And we're going to subtract all of this from the player's data. So, and then we're going to loop through the value data here. So for data, for underscore data in value data we're just going to take it away from the player's data. So player in ingredients. Okay, I freaking found a stupid issue because we had more than the amount. It wasn't running after the first one, so it was returning false. But if it was less than the amount, not if it was not equal to the amount, I just went like a solid like 5-ish noise trying to do that. And then also I changed the logic here, so we will wait 3 seconds for the item, and if it's not, we'll wait for it to be added to the thing. Because if it's not there after 3 seconds, then this will already have initialized, so then the thing will wait. So anyways, what I was trying to get at was to print out what the like data is. So in this case, it's cheese, dough, meat, and sauce, which is all of the things here. So that's what I was trying to get at when I was printing the data. So for each one of these inside the value data, we're just going to want to check for ingredients data, and then there's the value amount from the time here. I'm just going to take out that value. So we'll do player ingredients, so minus equal the amount. And then after this, we'll print player ingredients. So you can see we have the meat, so we're going to craft it. So right here, 5, 1, 4, 2, and then now the cheese went down by 5, going down by 1, meat 6. Okay, so then now we're in this case going to return. So we're going to then return true. So I'll delete this print statement here. These print statements are a little, but we don't need that. And then back on our client here, it's just going to say crafted each time. But then we're also going to call the load action every time. So we'll do it at the very start here. And then current right there. Okay, I got it. So let me go back here. Just give me 1 second. We'll put this right there. Okay, so let me go to the thing here, and I'm going to set my ingredients to like 100, right? So now for cooking pizza, I have 2 meat, I have 6 sauce, I have 8 dough, but I have no cheese because I used all of it. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to hop into my good old data store editor here, and I'm gonna give myself a ton of ingredients. So here is my thing. So go to data, we'll go to ingredients here, we'll set my bread to 100, we'll set my cheese to 100. If you don't have this plugin, by the way, I highly recommend getting it. It's one of like the most awesome plugins when working with data stores. I love this plugin. It gives us 100 dough, give us 100 meat, and give us 100 sauces. And close out of here. Wait, no, I don't think I updated it. Save. There we go. Okay, so now I can real quickly change it back. Okay, this little error happened there. I don't know why it's not updating my things, but here, let me restart it. It's not. Okay, well, I mean, that's the crafting system. Pretty simple. I can also go inside of the default player data and I can just make an empty table called food here. And then inside of this, we'll say player data dot food, and then actually we'll just say table dot insert player data dot food, and then the time. So that should have worked now. I don't know why it's not updating my player data, but here I'll give. This is the default to 100. It's still not. It's not reconciling my data. I'm trying to fix this. Okay, give me a second. Okay, let me try that one more time here. There we go. Now it's 100. Okay, so I can now craft myself a pizza. It'll say crafted. I can keep crafting more pizzas. I can maybe craft a couple of cheeseburgers and sandwiches and more cheeseburgers and more pizza. And then now when I close the game and have it printing out my data, I can open it up here, and then in my data there is the food table, which is now populated with pizza, cheeseburger, sandwich, cheeseburger, pizza, all the food items that I have. Now there's one final thing that you can do to make this look a little bit nicer. You could just make make it a dictionary, so you could do pizzas, where you put this in a table of all the pizzas. So if I were to put this in, it looks something like table pizzas is going to equal to. It looks something like this, right? But you need to do a lot of categorizing and stuff. Like you give the food a tag, you give it a tag. And actually, something really cool you could do is you could use some stringing concatenation. So you do food and then the item, and then just add an S to it, and then like that. So if I crafted, never mind, I didn't set that up. Whatever, I did that wrong, but that's it. I'm tired. I have to wake up early tomorrow, and I'm so tired. That's just the summary for how this all works. I'm gonna put this in an arbitrary description. And yeah, that's it for day 16. Before we watch one time, so for day 17. Wow, this video, without editing, an hour and 16 minutes.